Hello, you fickle watchers, you. Not getting many hits these days, am I? Been away for, a month. I have a job after all, been away for a few months. Maybe not been doing some videos to my same high standard. What happens? People just stop tuning in. I mean, how fickle. If I died, you'd forget me in a day. Is that what the interweb's about? Is it? Is that what the interweb's about? Fickleness? Bloody disloyal. And my recent videos have not been bad, they've just been a bit different. You have to have pathos. Is it pathos? Or pace? Anyway, you've got to have that. You've got to have a bit of variety. Because if you don't have variety, it all becomes very samey, doesn't it? And as Richard Nixon said, and I'm using a little bit of license here, but it's basically, to appreciate standing on the highest mountain, you need to know what it feels like to stand in the deepest, darkest valley. And that's like my videos. I'm not going to explain it for you, you can work it out for yourself, but you catch my drift. Anyway, I thought I'd better return to the tried and tested format, which is me ranting closely at the camera like this, because that gets, well, I wouldn't say lots of hits. I mean, not like some of the billage that gets millions of hits, like card trick. Oh, I can make this pencil disappear. Million hits automatically. Anyway, what my point? Yes, the topic is a bit contrived. But the topic of my video log weblog thing today is things I dislike. And there are many, as I'm sure you're not surprised. I was cut there, you see. That's a new invention. You can cut. Editing, it means, you don't have to be so spontaneous. Anyway. I have a particular detestement for... Well, I don't like tomato ketchup, as you will of course know, because of a very distressing incident that happened to me when I was a child. When I went to Butlins holiday camp and I put tomato ketchup sachets in my pocket, and I then went to watch the Poltergeist, because they don't have certification seemingly in holiday camps. Yes, I went to holiday camp, I know it's difficult to believe, but anyway. And then in the middle of the film, I was only 6, remember, I reached into my pocket and I felt some squidgy stuff, and so I sort of went off to the toilet, and my hands were covered in red, stinky stuff, and all this tomato ketchup had leaked everywhere, and of course, I didn't think it was tomato ketchup, I thought someone had stabbed me and I was bleeding to death in the cinema. So, yes, so I don't like tomato ketchup for that reason. But I can understand why people would eat it, but what I cannot abide is people who make these revolting sauce mixes. They take mayonnaise and ketchup and they make some prawn or Mary Rose sauce, and then these are the kind of people who spread that on white bread and eat it. I mean, honestly, it's not... May not seem much to you, but if you bother to take, some notice, you soon come to think the way I do, There's not a long stretch between my view of the world and yours. Mine is just a little bit more evolved. And I'm sure in time, most people will come to think as I do, but, anyway. Another thing I cannot abide are people who do not pronounce words properly. Now, I realise there are regional differences and blah, and I can accept those. Some people say bath, other people say bath, other people say... What northern people say? Northern people have a version. Beth. No, it's not that. But anyway, people who pronounce words typically in a quite pretentious way, like the word absurd. If someone pronounces the word absurd in the following way, stay clear of them. They are pretentious freaks, and they are probably going to do something very bad with you. And they say it like this: absurd. Absurd. It's like people who say because. They don't say because, they say because. I mean, what's that about? It's odd. Absurd. The situation is absurd. Everything becomes like that. Oh. And look how ugly that makes your face. And it's a beautiful face as mine. Surprisingly made to look so ugly, just by the way you speak. So, be careful of people who say absurd. Because they're very strange people, and their mouths are ugly. What else? Yes, a big pet peeve I have is with people who, when you speak to them, they think, because they do not understand, that you are stupid. If you don't understand what I'm saying, that probably applies to you, therefore you should go away, you should not watch this, and hopefully you will, expire or something. But those kinds of people, and they have an attention span of about 2 seconds, you watch them. If you don't speak to them in one-word sentences, no more than 2-syllable words, their eyes glaze over, like this. And then they presume that it's your fault. That in fact, you have the mental defect, that you are not able to explain things clearly, that it is your fault, and not theirs. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I am actually stupid and I don't explain things clearly. I think I'm quite articulate, frankly. So if people don't understand what I'm saying, well, don't wish to be arrogant, but, Anyway. I have many other peeves, but those are slightly more esoteric. Therefore, I will save them for another edition. I hope that this video has recouped some of my lost loyalties. And, yeah. And, feel free to comment if you can be bothered.